Hello, Minister Flack, and thank you for the opportunity. So, how will these changes benefit immigrant communities in Ontario, such as the Portuguese, which I'm here representing, who not only contribute significantly to the construction industry, but also face challenges in accessing affordable housing themselves?
Great question. Let me start out by saying I grew up in Streetsville, now part of Mississauga, and there was a very high Portuguese population in Streetsville. A lot of my friends and my sister-in-law is from the Carreros from Streetsville, and I always remember the great jobs they filled with companies like Maple Lodge Farms in the chicken processing business, like Canada Brick, still there, like CTS. Great working community. I mean, wonderful stories. I could regale you with great Portuguese stories and food stories as well. We were always well fed. But part of what this bill is about, and part of what we announced a little earlier in the week with skills development funding, is about keeping people well employed and creating new jobs. Since 2018, we've created 1 million new jobs in this province. A lot of those jobs are with people who've come to this country as immigrants. And look, we're all immigrants at some point in this country from wherever you came. And the hope of a job and the dream of a home is the Canadian dream, quintessentially the Canadian dream. And so many people, like the Portuguese community, are living that very effectively. So we have to keep our economy strong. And that's why Minister Bethenfalvey will table measures this Thursday to ensure that we do just that. Might also point out we put $1 billion this week into the Skills Development Fund to train and support our trades. And that's exactly what it will do. So with this legislation, we hope we are spurring on or getting more homes started, which is going to create a tremendous need for a workforce. The biggest threat we have, and it can be cost, it can be affordability, it can be interest rates, it can be a lot of things. But the biggest threat we have, I believe, in the housing industry is keeping our labor force, our skilled trades trained up and in place to build when this housing start delay or hurt turns and gets aggressive. Because if we don't have the people skilled and trained, we're not going to be able to take advantage of it right away. So that's why we're trying to kickstart this economy. And I think your community and everyone else who wants to be part of the housing business, building homes, refurbishing homes, whatever it may be, can find a safe place to live in Ontario and work here as well too. So totally understand your question. We continue to invest. I sit on the other side of me. I sit beside David Piccini, our Minister of Labor and Skilled Trades. He's doing a great job. And I told him I was coming here today, and he said, don't forget to tell everybody about the bill. I've got it written down, the $1 billion in Skills Development Fund to train and support our trade so they can not only earn well, but build equity through home ownership. So, quote unquote, David Piccini. And really, the purpose behind the legislation is twofold. It takes too long and it costs too much to build homes in Ontario. So, on that premise, we've introduced a very comprehensive bill, over 25 pieces of it. We won't go through every piece today, obviously, but I'll try and hit on some highlights that I think bring the real purpose to what this legislation is about. The legislation, if passed, creates the conditions. And again, I want to point this out. We create the conditions. Governments don't build houses. We create the conditions so those that do build houses and work with those that do build the houses, like municipalities and all stakeholders, can cut delays without sacrificing the good work, or corners, with cut delays, not corners, and tackle costs, the costs of building head on. We all know we've seen some economic headwinds come our way with President Trump and his tariffs. They're punitive, they're hurtful, and I think you'll see them. We'll be addressing those threats on Thursday with Minister Bethenfalvey's budget. But again, we have to get something done to keep the dream of home ownership alive and well in this province. And I'll tell you a story in a little bit. So it's an ambitious bill, it's bold, and it's aggressive. And I'll take 3 points or 4 points just to prove we mean business. Number one, think about the building code. I walk into my office when I'm first appointed minister. I go into a meeting room and there's two big binders. I should have had them here. Big binders, thick binders. And I go, what in goodness name is that? Well, that, minister, is the building code for Ontario. It's a standardized building code. I said, okay, interesting. Probably 6 or 7 pounds just to pick the thing up. And then I find out in subsequent meetings that the building code isn't the building code, because many municipalities add iterations to it. They add this condition, that certain study, or that certain clause, and it delays the time to get building permits in people's hands. So we are now saying the code is king. In other words, there's only one building code, whether you're in Kenora, or in Kingston, or you're in Windsor or Waterloo. The code is king, one code. We have a great code. We're going to stick by it and make sure that it's enforced and put in place in 444 municipalities across Ontario. So there's one way we're going to cut delays. The too expensive side, I'll hit on 2 or 3 points here related to development charges. So we've all heard this term development charge over the years. It's a necessary tool for municipalities to collect money from new growth to pay for needed infrastructure like water, wastewater, roads. But at times, especially in larger municipalities, bigger municipalities, those DCs can be punitive and can really hurt the cost of home ownership and new construction, new builds. So what we're saying to municipalities, you don't have to lower them. We're not making them lower them, but we're saying you have to defer them from when a building permit is issued until occupancy, deferred until occupancy, until the house is ready and people are moving in and they can pay. So that's big. That allows our home builders who build homes best to free up some cash flow rather than paying those up front and making sure that they can get more shovels in the ground faster, to get more homes built faster. So that's one aspect of DCs. The second is, which is I think very important for an aging population in Ontario, to remove development charges, DCs, completely from long-term care homes, completely gone. So again, there's 56 to 60,000 beds we need in the next number of years. Hopefully this will create the environment, create the conditions, incent home builders to start building more long-term care homes. And finally, what I would say is to explore new streams of financing. We have to find new ways to help our municipal partners fund infrastructure, water, wastewater, roads, schools. It could be fire departments, police departments. We can go on and on. There's a massive amount of billions of dollars needed to do it, and we're going to help support them through a study to just see how they can work. You know, folks, there's over $10 billion in deferred development charges in the province, and we're going to accelerate the ability of our municipalities to invest that money and get it prepared for future housing. It's going to help our economy as well, too, and protect jobs and add jobs, which is very important.
Thank you, Minister.